I think the Florida Gators play action passing game this year is going to be absolutely lethal. 2024.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. Happy Wednesday. I am Brandon Olsen. I am in Mexico. Any breaking news we will get to when I get back. But today's episode of Locked On Gators brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. And I think that the Florida Gators play action passing game is going to be really freaking good this year. I'm just going to be honest with you. I have very high expectations for them. And maybe I shouldn't, right? Maybe I shouldn't, but I do. And to me, that's important, right? Looking at the Florida Gators during last season, play action pass was obviously, first off, very successful for them. We had Bud Davis here a couple weeks ago talking about the play action passing game and that it was very successful for them, that they found a lot of their passing yardage from their big plays, touchdowns. They would go 12 personnel, run the play action, get a big play from it. Graham Mertz ran play action on 36% of his dropbacks last season. Kind of a lot, right? 36% of his dropbacks last season, Graham Mertz. 87 for 126 passing, 69%, nice. 1,159 yards, 9.2 yards per attempt, 11 touchdowns, 0 picks. And that's 5 drops too. So really should have been 92 for 126. Yeah. Did a damn good job, right? And I think that when you look at what the expectation is going to be, it's going to be do that again. But how do you get better at it, right? I think the main thing to look at is the offensive line. I've been very open this whole offseason about the offensive line, where I understand the confidence in the line. You got better. On paper, you got better. You got rid of some bad pieces. You moved the worst piece to the interior where they should be better. Damien George was really, really, really bad last year at right tackle. But again, at right guard, it's different. We still need to see him be better, but I'm not going to say he's going to be as bad as he was at right tackle because it's easier at right guard. That's why when guys struggle at tackle, you see them move into guard a lot. It's easier to do that. It's easier to play guard. You get help from the center or the tackle, right? You get to work with that. And so I think that the offensive line on paper, in theory, whatever, the offensive line should be much better. Austin Barber, healthy and back for another year, is big. Najee Harris at left guard. Najee Harris in pass protection last year was a stud. Absolute stud in pass pro last year. I don't know what it was about him, but he was just a dog. We were talking about the numbers the other day, and when you look at the offensive line and you look at guys who are in pass pro, Najee Harris, when he was there, 80 pass blocking engagements, 86 pass blocking snaps, 1 pressure allowed the entire time. 1. Which I know, small sample size. 80, that's a game and a half, 2 games. But that's still something to be like, okay, well, that's pretty damn good, regardless of the small sample size. We'll see how it carries over. But yeah, context matters. But Najee Harris that was damn good. No doubt about it. Then you look at center. Jake Slaughter is back. Jake Slaughter was your starting center for the overwhelming majority of last year. And from that time, just a constant reminder here, he didn't go into that year going, I'm going to be the starting center this year. Kingsley Aguakin got hurt right before the year. Okay? Right before the year. And Jake Slaughter had to step in right before the Utah game and become the starting center there. So this is the first offseason he's had to actually do that. At right guard, Damian George is there. Like I said, it's easier to play right guard than right tackle. I don't think he's going to be good. I don't think his film during the spring game is very good. However, that was his first game at right guard. We'll see. I still think that as a run blocker, he's damn good. I think as a pass blocker, he needs a lot of work, a lot of help. And yeah, he's gonna have that at center and right tackle. And at right tackle, you got Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. That's who I think is going to be the starting five. Brandon Crenshaw Dixon at right tackle. Very productive at San Diego State. Very good at San Diego State. Film looks good. If he can carry that over, he's probably going to get a little bit worse or look a little bit worse just because he's playing NFL edge rushers week in and week out. But still, a big improvement for what you had at right tackle last year, right? Like, even if that's average, it's way better than what you had. And we're talking about progressing, right? Better offensive line equals a better run game, which, like I said, I'm in Mexico right now, so I'm recording these a few hours before my flight. At the time, there's like a rumor of Montreal Johnson being banged up, whether that's a knee, like a meniscus injury, a muscle pull, whatever it is. The expectation seems to be that he'll be back for the Miami game, regardless of whether or not he's back. Improved offensive line equals better run game. The amount of Florida Gators fans that when Trevor Etienne hit the portal went, well, we'll have a better offensive lineman, so our better offensive line, so our run game will be better. That still stands, right? Better offensive line will improve your run game. Better run game, better play action passing game. And again, the stats, the analytics, the data, everything shows you play action passing is a big positive, even if your run game isn't working. If your run game is working and you have play action pass game going, then oh my God, then you're talking, right? But obviously, ideally, run game help, pass game help, play action pass game help. Better offensive line opens up the door for all of those. They do. A better offensive line opens up the door for everything, giving Graham Mertz more time. Imagine play action and actually being able to take a deep shot off of it. We didn't see that much. We didn't. It wasn't a thing that we saw from Graham Mertz much at all last year of the deep passes. It wasn't. And I've maintained that I think a lot of that comes down to the offensive line. I think that the offensive line was not good at giving him time. And I think that Graham Mertz is the kind of quarterback that needs to be able to step up into the pocket to deliver those throws and step through a throw. And he didn't have time to really do that with the Florida Gators last year. So I think he improves there. And then also the pass catchers are considerably improved. We'll talk about them next on Locked On Gators. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets to the first pitch with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Yeah, I'm just saying, if you want to go to, I don't know, concert, saw that Mexican OT almost 2 weeks ago now, saw Shabuzi in July, saw Anita in June, end of August, going to see Miami versus Florida in Gainesville, all bought through Game Time. I'm just saying, take the guesswork out of buying any tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege. $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. And the Florida Gators pass catchers from 2023 to 2024 have improved, right? You lost Ricky Pearsall, first-round wide receiver. That sucks, right? I don't think anybody's going to argue with you that losing Ricky doesn't matter. However, I think when you look at 2023 pass catchers to 2024 pass catchers, I think you're better overall. I don't think you have a player that's better than Ricky. I think that Trey Wilson can become that. But to this point, I'm not willing to say he's already better than Ricky was last year. Ricky got drafted in the first round. Trey wouldn't. Okay? And it's not a knock on Trey. Trey needs to be allowed to run routes and show that he could do it. That's been my main complaint. I just need to see that he can run routes consistently and get open vertically. I think this year, better offensive line, you can do that. Better pass catchers help you do that. Look at receiver. Elijah Badger's coming in from Arizona State, right? Bad year last year, as every pass catcher on Arizona State had a bad year last year. Their quarterback play was horrible. 2022, though, hell of a year. Chimere Dike, Wisconsin. Bad year last year, wasn't a fit for their offense, and their offense wasn't great. At least passing offense wasn't great. 2022, with Graham Mertz, huge year. And that's the important part as well. I understand that a lot of people look at Chimere Dike and go, doesn't really move me, which I get. I don't think you're wrong to say that Chimere Dike isn't a needle mover for you. However, if he's a chain mover, it's all that matters because Graham Mertz has that comfortability with Chimere Dike. Graham Mertz has familiarity with Chimere Dike, and Graham Mertz has chemistry with Chimere Dike. I've said since DK came in that I think he's going to be starting in the slot with Trey Wilson out wide. And when Elijah Badger came in, I said, I think what you see is Elijah Badger out wide, Trey Wilson out wide, Chimere Dike in the slot. Then I think you see Elijah Badger out wide, Khalil Jackson out wide, Trey Wilson in the slot. I think that's the kind of movement where it depends on where you're going to put Trey. But you could also see, Khalil Jackson, Aiden Mizell, and Trey Wilson. Like you could see a lot of combinations there. I think that your pass catchers are significantly better, especially the receiver room, because you're looking at not just, you brought in Elijah Badger. You brought in Chimere Dike. But you're looking at Trey Wilson is entering year 2. If Trey Wilson can take just even a slight step, he's a better receiver than most, right? Aiden Mizell in year 2. Aiden Mizell, my main thing with him has been that he needed to bulk up. I don't think that you could be as skinny as he was last year and be a contributor. I know people bring up Devontae Smith. That's an outlier. We don't bank on outliers. That's how you get fired. But also, I think Aiden Mizell has, as a route runner, was kind of rigid in high school. I think as a freshman, and even what we see in the spring game, I think he's a little rigid there. He's tall. It's hard to be a good route runner when you're that tall. You don't tend to be super nimble. However, based on what we've seen from camp, he looks like he moves a bit better. We'll see how that works against coverages. Andy Jean, hopefully taking a step there. You've got Tank Hawkins. You've got TJ Abrams, dynamic true freshman. Then you look at tight end room. Arlis Boardingham in year 2 as a contributor. He spent a lot of year 1. It just as his true freshman season, he spent a lot of year 1 banged up, right? Arlis did. Like we kept hearing, when Arlis is healthy, he's gonna make some noise. And then we didn't see him until the bowl game against Oregon State. That was the first time that we saw him catch a pass, if I'm not mistaken. Nothing. Hayden Hansen, 2022, didn't touch the field a single time. 2023, halftime of the Utah game, halftime of week 1, took the starting spot and never let it go. That's 2 guys that weren't really, like Arlis was expecting to play a big role last year. Hayden was not. Okay? Arlis was banged up in year 1. Hayden was not. That's where they have the trade-off of Hayden's been healthy, but there was no plan for him to contribute in year 1. I don't think last year he was supposed to either. He just took it. Then, Arlis is the one where he's been here 2 years. 2 years of at least moderate expectations, and year 1 was banged up most of the time. They're taking the next step. I think having Russ Callaway helps them a lot develop, and we've heard Hayden on the show last year. He was like, "Yep, having Russ Callaway really helps. He teaches us a lot, and so we know where to be and what our job is more consistently. We can do that better. Stuff like that matters, and Russ Callaway helps you with that. Again, I don't think that you've got a player better than Ricky Pearsall. I do think that Elijah Badger is a completely different player, so I think it's hard to make that comp just because how do you compare players that are just vastly different? Like stylistically, I don't care if they play the same position. They're completely different. It makes no sense. It doesn't. It's like looking at, a scrambling quarterback versus a pocket passer quarterback. It's like, how do you really evaluate who is better when they do different things? They're not trying to do the same thing. And so that's where I go, Elijah Badger, Ricky Pearsall are too different for me to say I'm comfortable with the comp. Even though I have a tendency to go, I prefer the better route runner, which would be Ricky. Stuff like that. But it's not better, it's what I prefer. So I think Elijah Badger can become a player like that. That is a big time alpha receiver. We'll see. Hopefully he does. Would love that. But even if he's not a big time alpha receiver, he's a damn good option. Damn good. And especially when we're kind of looking at him going, we would love it if you were a number one. But if you're a number two and Trey is number one, we're looking at a pretty damn good combo there anyway. No matter who's 1 and 2, if that's the top two, then we're looking at a good combo there. And then I also think that going back to Russ Callaway, I think the scheme really matters. And I think that the Florida Gators are looking forward to making some pretty big waves there. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Gators. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day, every day. We are available daily and free breakfast in the podcast and on YouTube. To wrap up today's show, there's just some scheme things that I think that the Florida Gators will be looking to kind of work with in the 2024 season. Namely, Russ Callaway first, as I think Russ Callaway coming in as the co-offensive coordinator is big. You look at his Sanford's team, which, by the way, because this is the bane of my existence, aside from my neighbors drilling something all day, apparently, Russ Callaway at Sanford, he liked to get vertical with the ball. And I think that Billy Napier has liked to get vertical. I don't like when people go, oh, the scheme wasn't allowing Graham Mertz to throw deep. The offensive line wasn't allowing Graham Mertz to throw deep. Billy Napier loves throwing the deep ball. Like, he's done it throughout his entire career. 4 verts is one of the biggest things that he calls, one of the biggest plays he calls. He loves it. He loves throwing the deep ball. It's just a matter of actually getting there. And for Graham, he needs to be able to step into the pocket to throw it, and he didn't have that. So that's why he's not going to be throwing bombs. Right? However, I do think this year you look to get more involved there. I think you just dial up more shot plays, like play action shot play. Come on. Have whichever running back is in the backfield at the time, because there's going to be multiple playing. Play action. Put them in pass pro after the PA. Have Hayden in pass pro, like you saw him do a lot last year. And have a shot play dialed up. I don't care what it is. Double posts, crossers, whatever you want to call it. Have it dialed up. Look at, hell, Hayden clocked damn near 21 miles per hour this year in GPS tracking. He's 6'7" 3/4, 260 something. And he's running 21 miles per hour. That's a freight train coming at you. Let him run straight. just let him play action. Let him run straight up the seam. Arliss? Hell yeah, let him run too. He's faster. Let him run too. Just attack the seams. You got it. Wild to me. Also, I think that one big aspect of involvement is looking at DJ Lagway. I do. And I've talked about this before with DJ Lagway specifically of I want to look at his usage the same way we looked at Anthony Richardson's usage in 2021 under Dan Mullen. Because you look at the early usage too. I said it during the 2021 season. I came out and I said, I think Dan Mullen is intentionally sabotaging Anthony Richardson because he had such great plays dialed up early in the year. And then he started calling the safer plays to limit those big plays, I think, for the criticism, whatever. But you look at the beginning of the 2021 season when Dan Mullen was letting AR let things fly. And look at the explosive plays created, whether it was scrambling or throwing the ball. Just the rushing threat of Anthony Richardson was a lot. I think DJ Lagway is not Anthony Richardson, but I think that DJ Lagway can present similar issues for the defense. I think that when you talk about having that mobility like AR had, and you look at the 2022 season, and you see all the option that was run against Utah, you go, okay, well, that run game especially works because they have to respect that Anthony Richardson could take off running. With DJ Lagway, you have to respect that DJ Lagway can take off running. And so that should open up your running game, which would in turn open up your play action passing game more. However, I also think that with DJ Lagway, it's the opposite of the Graham Mertz situation, right? Graham Mertz, like I've been saying, he needs to be able to step into his throws. I think that he's relatively physically capped, but I do think that he can make the throws still. He just has to be able to step into it, and he didn't have the time to do that with the offensive line. He was either trying to run and throw or trying to run and barely move the sticks a little bit. He's constantly fighting, right? He never had time to just step and deliver. Constant issue. DJ Lagway, two things. One, I don't think he needs to step and deliver. I think he's got that natural arm strength that we talk about, like Anthony Richardson against Kentucky. Defenders around his ankles, and he flicks it, and it goes across from one hash to the far sideline. Stuff like that, that's just nuts. I think DJ Lagway can do that physically. I don't think he needs to step into it like that. I think he likes to because he is I don't want to say he's technically sound, but mentally, he doesn't really do things like that where he's kind of trying to force things. He tends to want to step into throws, but he can do that. I also think that you can say, hey, well, he can run and extend plays with his legs. And that opens up the door for a couple of things. One, extend play with your legs and just straight up run the ball, which is not what we're talking about with play action. But with DJ Lagway, play action, boot, you know what he can do? Step into the throw and fire it downfield. Or he can just straight up throw it while he's on the run and have a big arm like that. I think DJ Lagway opens up a lot of your offense as well, especially with the play action passing game where teams are going to respect him as a runner. Really opens up a lot. I think Florida Gators play action passing game going to be really freaking good this year. I think it has to be. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow, talk more Florida Gators football. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my great work with Giants Country, and I will see you all next time.